Sales Sheroes. I'm Angie Gonzalez.
And I'm LaDonna Hale. Welcome to our podcast where we champion the fearless women who are making waves in the world of sales. We're thrilled to be your hosts on the empowering journey as we dive into insightful conversations, share inspiring stories, valuable tips, and strategies.
Absolutely. Get ready to be motivated, uplifted, and equipped with the tools you need to succeed in your sales career.
Today, we're diving into a topic that's close to every woman sales rep's heart, managing stress.
Oh my gosh, that is such a good topic, LaDonna. But first, how are you? How's it going?
I'm doing so good. I'm doing so good. This is my busy season in my sales career. And so I have done 4 trade shows, ran an IIDA design crawl with my committee of 4 other women, and we rented school buses. It was super fun. So we rented school buses and we had 4 different buildings that had won design awards. And then the groups all left in the school buses at the same time, and we went to in different locations throughout the night. So I hosted at one location, and it was a really cool. Prometheus, the real estate group, owns this building and community. They call it a neighborhood, and they're changing the face of apartments, right? Like apartment lifestyle. And oh my God, it's a wellness. So it is the most amazing, beautiful apartment complex I've ever been in because it was really neighborhood feel. So they have like a dog grooming station, and they have a bike station where you can repair your bike. They have a spa. That was my favorite part. They have a organic garden on the roof that they manage for their people, but their people can go pick vegetables from. It's super cool.
Oh,
anyway,
that is really cool. Well, this is a good topic,
busy
because you're all over the place. I also am freaking out. This is our quarterly business review week where we break down our business for last quarter and what we did and didn't do. So I am super excited to be talking about managing stress, honestly, because that's exactly where I'm at today. When you're in sales, I think we're always stressed out with something.
Yeah, no kidding, Angie. So true. So it's always a balancing act, right? That's what it's all about. One thing I've learned in that balance, and in one thing I've learned in the idea of getting balance is to set boundaries. I think that it's so important to be able, like, I get weak at that sometimes. And I'm like, why am I doing so much? And I'm like, okay, because I'm not really paying attention to my boundaries right now. And that's a crucial part of taking care of yourself, carving out time for self-care, making sure that you're not overextending yourself. Boundaries really are key. And I am not always the best at that. So I have kind of a system. We can chat about that a little bit too, if it works, to kind of squeeze that in at some point here. But I have a system that works really well for me for boundary setting.
Yeah, boundaries are so important. And it's interesting because you have to try to remember in sales to set boundaries around all different things, right? Your personal life, your financial life, your physical life, your, emotional, and then your sales life. Like, you have to set boundaries on a lot of things. Otherwise, you really are just really going to lose your mind. And then you mentioned a little bit of self-care too. So I'm excited to talk about this with you because you always have so many great ideas that I tend to glean from you. So how do you incorporate, all of the self-care and boundaries kind of into your routine?
Yeah, it looks different. I just actually, I had someone recommend, it's called a Lumen device, and it registers your metabolic rate. And so I actually just bought one, and there's a bunch of videos in it to teach you how to use it. And so in using that, she talked about balance. And I think that she said, and what she said that really struck a chord for me last night when I listened to that video was that it's different for everyone, right? So balance for Angie is different than balance for LaDonna, maybe different than balance for like my daughter, Mariah, who isn't in sales, but she's a mom of 4 running a nonprofit that her husband and she started. Balance for the 3 of us all looks very different. It's a very different approach. So I think that that's really important to remember, because what I tell you today that works for me may not work for you. You have to kind of figure out what it is by finding those moments of peace amidst the chaos, because oftentimes in this world, we can get so overextended and things can really feel chaotic. So for me, whether it's taking a walk during a lunch break or indulging in a good book before bed, those are moments where I recharge my battery to keep me going. And in that, I have 5 things I'm always working on. I have a priority in each of the 5 sections of my spirituality and my personal, like, relationships, personal life, my physical health, my business, and my finance. So of those five, I'm always really striving to take one thing to a higher level. That's where I can set strong boundaries. It's not always super easy. Like, this is a busier time for me in my sales career. This is just when people are buying more of what I sell. And so it looks different for me in April than it looks for me in December. December, I can really pull out my priorities, look at them, see, I can do a lot of adjusting and reset my goals because I have more time then, because work kind of has a tendency to slow down just a smidge. So that's kind of how I keep my battery going.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I agree with the fact that we all are different, and some things that you do or some things that I do are going to be different for everybody else. I mean, honestly, when I get super stressed out, the first thing I do is call you or one of my people and be like, especially when it comes to work related sales questions, right? I'm freaking out. Here's what's going on. I need help with that. But I'm with you. I think for me also, it's just getting outside, enjoying that peace, finding the moment where I could have a little bit of peace. And for some of the mamas out there, it's like the bathroom is the place where they find the peace. We're talking about your daughter, Mariah. She's, very busy entrepreneur woman, successful, nonprofit they're starting, but she's got these 3 little kids at her feet. So anytime you could find just a little bit of peace, it makes all the difference in the world. What do you do for, I know we're all different, but what do you do when the stakes are super high and the pressure's like really, really on? What do you do then? Like,
freak out and cry. I mean, let's be real. Sometimes
go out
I
and
freak
scream.
out. Sometimes I freak out. I used to drink a lot. All joking aside, I quit drinking 10 years ago, but I mean, that used to be a common thing for me to, like, de-stress when it was stressful, because it can be stressful, right? I mean, we're held to a standard in sales. We have to meet quotas. We need to be selling. So for me, I really focus on gratitude. I wrote a gratitude journal. I really believe that it has made a huge impact in my life in a positive way. I do it every morning without fail. I have for years.
Yeah.
And I also try to really channel that stress into motivation. I'm a big, I love Jesus, so I pray a lot. I do a full 2.5 miles every day outside. Rain or shine, I walk outside. I take my dog. It's really crucial for him. He's a rescue dog and he needs to be exposed to people on a regular so he doesn't get more aggressive. And so we just are always out, and I love nature. I love the outdoors. I'm reminded when I take walks by the river, that there's just something bigger than me, the birds, the peace. I don't just write my gratitudes. I live in deep appreciation for the things that show up on my gratitudes, because that keeps me motivated. Generally, the people and the things that are on my gratitude practice are a big reason why I'm motivated to do more and to provide more for family, to provide more for my husband and I. I remind myself of the capabilities. When I start to fall into those places of self-doubt or thought that I can't succeed and do the things that I want, I look at past successes, and I've had some pretty significant ones. I mean, and so I look at those big wins in sales because I did it before, so I can do it again. Like, I mean, especially when you learn to really become a servant of your clients. And when you're setting those boundaries and you're picking aligned clients, it becomes easier because you're really working with people you like, right? You build that know, like, trust factor. And so it gives you confidence to take on the challenging things head on when you remind yourself of the places that you've worked really hard to have something successful pop up and that you've been able to accomplish that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I almost want to yell, preach, 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 because it's so true. And I mean, we are in sales, we're held to a high standard. Being a woman in sales, you're held to an even different higher standard, right? A lot of times in certain corporate companies, they're waiting for you to fail. So you have a lot of extra pressure on you for things outside of your normal job duties. And so, I mean, I'm with you on that. When the stakes are really high and the pressure is really on, I think having good sounding boards within the organization is helpful because they know exactly what you're going through. They know what your leadership's kind of harping on you for. That's really helpful. I'm also a woman of faith. I love Jesus too. Shout out to our Jesus lovers. But I have to have my conversations at that moment of just peace and go, whether that's taking a walk and start talking to God and being like, all right, here's the deal. There's one of me. There's like 8 people hounding me on X, Y, and Z. Like, I just need the patience and I need the skill set and I need the peace to handle this. Right. And I feel like getting able to have that conversation externally sometimes for me gets it out of my head. Because when you're sitting in your head, mulling all those words and statements around that people are saying about whatever the pressure is that is on you, you sit in that. So for me, it's different than other people. I have to externally articulate. So I call you, I call a mentor, I call people related to sales that can understand where I'm at, give me a different perspective, and then turn around and say, okay, here's how you're going to achieve it. And you brought up a super, super good point. And we talk about gratitude all the time, but getting into your gratitude and being reminded of what you did before and where your success was before, even if it wasn't a huge win, it could be just a win. That alone will help kick that self-doubt, help kick that, pressure back off and say, okay, I'm going to manage this stress. You can only be stressful to you if you're allowing it. So putting that boundary up, putting that shield up, deflecting. I love Wonder Woman. She's my favorite superhero on the planet. It's like deflecting that stress out and saying, you do not have power over how I'm going to respond or react or handle this. So yeah, that's it. I love that you brought up like mindset and the perspective. And then because in managing the stress in sales or at any high pressure job is absolutely crucial for us in maintaining the well-being of ourselves and the performance of our job, really.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of managing stress, let's just share some really tactical ways that women or anyone else that is listening in sales can use to tackle that stress.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one thing I think I love to do with you is brainstorm some ideas of what we can do. So first step for me is going to be time management, right? Really efficiently managing my time can help me alleviate my stress by prioritizing what tasks I know I have to get done, setting realistic goals, and really breaking down those big tasks into smaller manageable ones helps me not be so overwhelmed with my work day, my work week.
I love that. Maintaining a healthy work-life balance. We chatted about that a little bit in the beginning. Make time for the hobbies, the relaxation, spending time with loved ones. Find what you love and give yourself a reward at the end of the week. That's a great way to make sure that you're incorporating that healthy work-life balance. Like I love Carson Hot Springs. I knew last week was going to be a massive grind. So I booked a Friday morning spa treat. Like I did a soak in the cast iron tubs. I treated both Brooke and I because we both worked really hard, and then we still had our full work day to work, but we did a bit of a recharge on Friday morning.
Yeah, I love that. And exercise is so crucial, right? Because I think it was some sort of comment in the what is it, Elle Woods? What was that movie?
Yeah.
Legally Blonde. She said about happy endorphins, right? Happy endorphins. With people that have happy endorphins, they don't kill their husbands, was I think the line in the movie. But exercise is crucial because I don't know, look at my brain is all over. It took me forever just to get around to that. But thank you guys for out there, our Sheroes, for speaking Angie or hearing Angie, right? No, exercise is so crucial. Regular physical activity, it definitely is a powerful stress reliever, gives us those happy endorphins, boosts our mood. And that sometimes you just got to walk away, right? Walk away from your laptop, walk away from your phone, walk away from your colleagues.
You said that, and I laughed because Burke and I ran the design show together. He was at Saltwood with me, right? And so one of the people on our team, she pulls out these great big black garbage bags, and I chuckled because I was like, okay, we do have a lot of people, but I'm like, I don't think I'm going to put those lawn bags out for people to put their cans in. But I was like, I think I can fit Brooke's body in this, and they don't know me well, right? And so they're all looking at me, and Brooke is like, to fold me in half. But I was like, why did I say that? Sometimes I'm like, I just say things. But anyway, so when you said that about your husband, I was like, oh yeah, I was going to put mine in a body bag this week. I wasn't upset with him or anything. We were having a great time. I don't even know why that's the first thing I thought of.
I think the funny thing about that, I think really quickly, and I apologize to our sharers, we're completely getting off topic here. But I think the funny thing about that is when you and your husband, Brooke, who's also in the field of sales for flooring, when you guys go out, not everyone knows that you're husband and wife. So when you're holding up a garbage bag saying, I think I could fit Brooke in this, and you see a sales lady across the way going, why is she trying to put her colleague in a black garbage bag? And then his only response is, well, you might have to fold me in half. It's like he's a willing participant in this event. I can only imagine what those other reps are thinking when they look at the two of you guys. That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Laughing 100%. Is another
stress if you can't laugh with people, you need to find people to laugh with. So that's so funny. Yes. And we're coming up on 17. We're coming up on 17. The 27th of this month, we are 17 years married. And like, I know we're almost in the 20-year mark, which is really cool. Okay. Back on topic. Let's not over.
I'm like 20 years single. You're like 20 years married. Okay, and that's for another topic.
It takes
conversation.
All kinds to make the world go round in all different situations, right? Totally. Let's not overlook the power of mindfulness and meditation. Practices like mindfulness meditation can promote relaxation and focus, helping you manage stress. A good one that Angie and I found through some mentors that we've worked with is Brendan Bouchard's release meditation.
Yeah, love it.
And here's
like 20
why I
minutes.
like that. I've never been able to get into a super deep meditative state. Sometimes I'll get there like in a massage. Sometimes I'll get there when I pray at the river, but I just don't ever get really, I need guided meditation. I'm saying this because I want to give you permission to use guided meditation safely, because you want to make sure that you're opening yourself up to really positive forces. So use positive guided meditation. But if you can't get there without having a guide or some kind of like quiet music or the river, I mean, use what works. I think that I used to get so frustrated because I'm like, I can't meditate. And then I'd get negative about it, right?
Because your mind doesn't shut off. Like my mind does not shut off. So it's very hard for me to get that. But on Brendan's 20-minute, you go to YouTube, you guys, it's really easy. You put it on your phone. I can sit with my earbuds on my bed for 20 minutes. And I used to do this when I had a house full of people. It was like going from work to going from home. He says, sit in the bathroom, in the bedroom, wherever, and do this 20-minute meditation, because that flips your mind going from work to home. So if that's your car ride home, pull over before you get to the house, turn on the 20-minute meditation, lock your doors so don't let any weirdos come in, and then just have that moment. I think that that's absolutely important. And with meditation is the importance of deep breathing exercises. I know a lot of times my daughter's, she's got a psych degree, so she's got trained in all these different ways to kind of calm people down, which is great that I'm her mom. And so she's always like, hey, four breaths in, 4 breaths out, deep breathing. If you don't have the ability to do meditation, or that's just not your thing, then just practice some deep breathing and throughout the day to help you focus, to slow down, take those deep breaths, and that can also quickly calm your body's stress response as well.
Seek support. That's really key. Talk to colleagues, mentors, friends about work-related stress. Sometimes simply sharing experiences can provide relief. Don't use it as a bitching session, but use it as a practical conversation to guide you. I just be mindful of that. I say that because you can go into things and then it can be a negative spin because you have a frustrating situation with someone and then the other person that you're talking. Right. So be careful about who you do this with, because you want to do this in a healthy way. You want it to be people that are going to help you figure out a way to creatively manage that or move you through that or give you some lessons on how you could overcome that and not let that feeling be bothering you. So I think that sharing experiences can be really impactful.
And I think and we talk about this all the time, I think if you have a good circle of people around you, they'll know if you are bitching for recreation or bitching for sport. And they'll be like, okay, I'm hearing you. You have a valid, stressed out issue with your job. So get it out to me because it's a safe space, but then, okay, how are you going to flip it or how are you going to handle it? Or
Yeah.
sometimes you just need to just get it out
Yes.
and then it's behind you. So I think to your point, not making sure the circle of people around you don't allow you, like I could never call you up to just start complaining. You probably would give me like probably good 60 seconds before you're like, okay, what's the goal of this call? And you're not being rude.
Yeah.
You're just like, how can I help you? I can't help you if you just keep
Right, because
complaining about this the
when
whole
we
time,
do
right?
that,
We're not seeing.
I mean, you could spin your whole workday away. You could spin all your profits away. You can spin, me too.
Oh,
I've been the biggest
I've done that.
spinner ever. Oh my gosh. I need things to be just and right. And the world that is not filled with justice always. I mean, let's just be realistic. Things happen that are frustrating, that don't need to happen. And so for a lot of my life, I would spin out of control on wanting things to be just and right. Like I was wronged by someone. Well, everyone's going to know about this for 6 months. Well, what is that doing for me? Nothing. It's causing negative impacts around me.
Right.
It's causing negative impacts on the people I share and give that knowledge to. Like, so that can be an unhealthy way to live.
Oh yeah. And in corporate too, it's interesting because there's so much that's out of our control. There's so many decisions, so many processes, so many policies, so many managers. Our company was recently acquired. And so we have this influx of leadership, which I think can be fantastic. But then when you have a lot of leaders asking you to do different things, or some are asking you to do the same things, all of us, you tend to look around going, okay, so if I've got 3 people asking me to do the same thing, I'm doing it. I'll give it to all 3 of you. But then where's it going from there, right? And so you can get down these rabbit holes, I think, sometimes in the corporate sales world. And it's so much out of your control. So I think getting to a point where you can learn, which this takes time, learn within your organization, what is it that you can own and control, right? By responding. And what is it that no matter how you respond, good, bad, or indifferent, it's not going to matter. It's still going to be what it's going to be, back to your point. There's just some things that are not going to be just. And you just have to figure out, how long am I going to sit in this frustrating moment? Or when am I going to draw that boundary to not give it any more 100%. Energy, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. And I think, that switching gears a little bit on another way to help folks out is maintaining a healthy lifestyle. I think that is so important, practicing positive self-talk. I talk about that all the time. I always have struggled with self-doubt. So for me, positive talk is a big deal. I'll share a little personal thing here because we don't really share a lot of personal stuff, but I went through a breakup a while back. And one of the things I did at this breakup was I wrote a sticky note, a positive affirmation or comment about me or to me. I wrote one a day for 365 days. So I have like a 4.5 to 5 inch stack of sticky notes. They were all yellow, and I picked 2 different colors, and every day I wrote a different one. And practicing that positive self-talk really helped me kind of heal through the situation faster. It got my perception to, change to like, okay, this is what it is. I can't change what this is, and time to figure it out. And so practicing positive self-talk, continuously learning, that's something we also talk about all the time, working on yourself, your personal development, taking breaks, celebrating your successes. I think those are all super important strategies.
Yes, and I got to see those Post-it notes because it was in the bathroom that Angie used in her bedroom, and it was really cool. The walls were like this brown cork in there, which was super cool, and then the yellow. It was very pretty. It was very pretty. So not only was it motivational to see that, but it was pretty to see those Post-it notes all over.
I'll have to repost that again and bump that up so people can see it. But I think that's just the positive. We don't really realize, and I know we did a topic of self-doubt already, but when it comes to managing stress, I was talking to a customer today and she brought up the same thing. It affects every single part of your body, not just mentally, but physically can make you ill. You could get medical symptoms off of stress, hair loss, right? All the different things. And if we don't take care of the mental health aspect of it, that's great. But you also have to be healthy. You also have to be doing exercise. And if anyone knows me, I hate exercising. I know it's important, but it's my least favorite thing to do on the planet. I do it, but I don't like it. But it's just, those are so important for us to really be making sure that we're not letting stress win. And we always talk about flipping the script on things. And I think for a lot of us out there, we've got to get the stress dialed in. We're not going to let it win. We should have a movement against stress, right?
I love that. Yeah, totally. It's important to find what works for you personally, experiment with different strategies, and prioritize self-care to effectively manage your stress in sales so that you don't, like Angie said, let it win, let it take over, let it cause. I mean, that's what happened for me. I allowed personal stress, work stress, life stress, choices I made that made my life more challenging as a single parent. I allowed all of those things because I didn't work on my mindset. I allowed all of that self-doubt, all of those things, words spoken over me as a young person, to have such an impact that alcohol took over as the only mechanism I could find to quiet my mind. And thankfully it was just alcohol for me. Like, I've had friends that have gone through addiction of other things, and I don't drink any longer because of that. And what I've learned over the last 10 years is that I have to constantly be working on an evolution of ways to keep myself well and healthy,
Right.
and in a healthy mindset, because I do have I have an active mind, and I do get into those self-doubt situations less now than I have ever in my life. I can always make money. I can always earn. I know that. So I don't get as caught up, but I still have times where, I mean, like, I took over a territory almost 2 years ago from a person who was doing really well. And it has had some backslide from a little bit of backslide from the time that there was no one in the territory, and I'm regrowing that. But so I have these times sometimes where I'm like, gosh, can I get it back to where he had it? And of course I can. So I don't stay in my mind for that in that for a long time. But like, then you start thinking about economics, and we're in an election year, and all those things. I don't even listen to the news. I just choose not to because I get too stressed about it. Like, I try to stay informed when I need to be informed, but I don't get in the spin around that. But it still creeps in. It creeps in, right? We're on social media. My husband may be talking about something, and I'm like, la, 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 don't talk about that.
Or your customers, right? Your customers.
Yes.
You're going to do a sales call or get on a call and you say, hi, LaDonna, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. How are you? And then they just want to talk about, the economy or the politics, or they have their own corporate stuff. And it's like, we even take on what we're hearing from the people around us, right? So when I hear people stress out, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, pivot. Like, it's like a bouncing ball. Like, I need to pivot. And I think that's the part in our society today. And I think where the world as a whole is at. Doesn't matter what country you live in. Doesn't matter what job you have. Doesn't matter what race you are, like our economic status. None of that matters. All of our stress, we all have stress. Everybody does. Even children are having stress off of how the parents are, if they're hearing the parents fight, or when they go to school and they have teachers that have a harsh tone that day, or everybody has it. So I think focusing on how to deal with that, because yes, that's part of our mental state as well. And I know with mental health, we talk about also eating well, exercising, those things. I think these are all just such a connected topic that we should all be talking about it more. Instead of saying, hey, how's it going? It should be, hey, how are you handling your stress today? Like, is there anything I can do to help you? Number one, you'd laugh your butt off probably if I came to you and said, hey, LaDonna, how are you handling your stress this week? You're probably like, that'll throw me for a loop. But
well, let me tell you.
I might start doing that with you just to see what happens, because it'll flip it from, I think when we say, how are you? It gives you permission to sit in that negativity when maybe you don't want to sit in the negativity. You're like, I'm having a really bad day today. This happened, this happened, this happened. I'm on the leaderboard at the bottom. This happens to me sometimes out here. I'm on the bottom of the leaderboard, and that's a crappy place to be when you're in sales. But you can't sit in that. We got to be positive, self-talk, boundary setting, time management, healthy lifestyle. Getting better with the healthier lifestyle, but exercise. If there's any good trainers out there, hit me up, because I'm not a fan of working out.
Yeah, absolutely. So remember, you're not alone in this journey. We're here to support each other and celebrate every success along the way. Together, we'll conquer any challenge that comes our way. Keep being the amazing sales sheroes you are.
Yes. Keep shining bright, folks. Take care of yourselves, and remember, you got this.